Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We are your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is the 4th of March, 2018. We go live every Sunday for our 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, European and UK news show. I'm going to have to move this camera over because we're not centered.
You said UK news, and that's what we have a ton of today. I've got 10 articles
folks,
up.
going for a ride.
And so if you're just joining us and you don't know who we are, that's kind of a joke because nobody's able to find us because of YouTube censorship, and I feel like we should kind of start out with that, even though it's not UK. It is. It's everybody news. Alex Jones, he's close to being shut down. He's got 2 strikes in his channel. He was told that Twitter was going to shut him down today. Or not Twitter, but YouTube.
Heather, I got your text message. I will get with you after the show. Heather's here.
Hi, Heather. So there's a lot of censorship going on, and we're just riding the boat. As long as there is one person watching, we're going to keep riding the boat. Because I want to give you hope, because I don't think this can go on forever. We were talking about this. There will be some sort of, they'll regulate it as a utility, or something. It cannot go on. And a lot of the people on Twitter and YouTube and Facebook are asking the GOP, where are you? Well, they really can't come out in support of Alex Jones.
Tracy says that red suits you. Look how nice you look today.
I'm in red.
Aw, we're like American for our European.
We should have worn green so we could do it for Italy.
Sorry.
I know, it's not your fault. It's
Sorry.
not your fault. I'm just kidding. So anyways, I wanted to get that kind of out there.
Hang on though, because if I may, before you move on to that, and I usually I'm busy at the beginning of the show trying to share this on Twitter and things like that, but that'll hold for a second. We were talking about it last night. I said to Leah, there's a reason why they are hammering down on the censorship so much right now. Trump talked about in his, it wasn't the State of the Union address. What was the other thing that he did recently?
There was the State of the Union address, was most recent.
No, and he was just saying, he was talking about his campaigning. It's going to be starting pretty much this year. At the end of this year, you need 2 years to start campaigning. There's that. There's the midterm elections
2018
that will be happening where the Democrats are going to try and steal power back again. And so they are scrambling right now because they realized that the reason that Brexit happened, the reason why the Italy-exit might be happening, why the elections there, like we're talking about today, are going to happen.
Brexit almost happened. Bert Wilder's gained some.
Trump was elected. All of these things happened because of YouTube and because of Facebook and social media and Twitter.
Alternative media.
And if they don't put a clamp, if they don't shut this down right now, we will change the world.
And it is.
You're a world changer.
This is the world changing. As my mom always told me, like, I didn't believe in my lifetime the world could change and go back to being better, or not even go back to being better, but just, you know, we did have a time where morals were awesome and people were just good, hardworking people. What?
Nothing. It's nothing. It's technical stuff.
Okay. So, anyways, I didn't think that the world could change in my lifetime, but I believe it now. I believe because I know. Call me
Doubting Thomas.
But anyways, no, I do believe it, and even in the midst of all this, because I see like. We've been connected with so many people around the world who are feeling and doing the same thing, and it's all about truth.
Right.
When it comes down to it, if you give most people, the choice between the truth and a lie, they're going to pick the truth.
Yep.
And Jesus is the truth, right? So that's why Christianity spread, because Jesus was the truth.
Yeah. But
when it comes to the essence of the EU, the things happening in Italy, things happening in France, it's all about the truth, and it's really the truth. We can disagree on how to solve social problems, but we have to be able to come to universal truths, you know? And so I'm actually excited to see the universal truth. And so the war on the censorship and everything is a war against the truth. And it's this weird fascism, which is very interesting, that in Italy, they're having elections right now.
Yep.
Today, happening right now. And, that CNN is saying, is it the rise of fascism? Which is interesting because they are the fascists.
Yep.
And Italy is actually trying to fight against fascism.
Right.
Which is the EU.
Right.
And so there are a lot of Eurosceptics. Eurosceptics meaning anti-fascists in Italy.
So when we watched the Billy Graham funeral, and his children were amazing. That video's had like over 1,000 views on Resistance Chicks, which I'm excited about. I think it's people clicking on it to see if it's the actual funeral, but that's okay. I'm sure we'll get a couple from that. But if you guys haven't watched it, go back and watch it. The eulogies that his kids gave were amazing, and I'm thinking of his one son that looks just like him. And he came out, and he was very short, very sweet, and he said that my dad is fat. So we'd say fascist. I think of that fat. And he said faithful, available, and teachable. And so if they would like to call us fat, no, it won't work. But I'm just saying.
Don't call me that.
The point is, what they accuse you of is what they are guilty of. Right. And we are the faithful, available, teachable. The reason why you're red-pilled is because you're teachable. The people that have their heads stuck in the sand are not teachable.
That's so good.
So I didn't write it, but he did.
No, just the way that you put that for like the red-pilled people are teachable and they're faithful and they're available. I love that. That is so true. So let me go over here to this tweet to give you, we're going to go over a lot of things in the UK and we're going to go over some things. We're going to go over the Italian election. This, where's my tweet from Raheem? Raheem was tweeting out about, kind of give you an update on what's going on in Italy with the election so far. I love what he says here this morning. In 2015, Nigel Farage and I went to see, I should probably use very posh accent for Raheem Kassim. Now deported Gio Roberto Casaleggio. Casaleggio. The man behind Italy's 5-star movement. People thought we were nuts, toying around the fringes today. 5-star could get the highest vote in the Italian elections, some predicting 35%. Now, for what I understand in Italy, and I'm not there, so Steve Bannon is there actually watching the elections.
Really?
I found that. Yes, I'm going to talk about him a little bit. He
awesome.
has raised his little head here. I like Steve Bannon, by the way. I know he's got his issues with Trump, but Steve Bannon is.
I think Trump likes Bannon too.
I hope so.
Deep down inside.
So, they redid the how the election works so that the 5-star movement couldn't get a majority.
Right.
So, very interesting there. All right, so let's go to the UK for a little bit. Now, do you guys remember hearing about this bombing in Leicester? It wasn't a bombing; it was just an explosion, right? It is now.
I think it's just Leicester.
Leicester.
Leicester. He's just Leicester.
Review specialist.
They have now said it was an explosion caused by 6 people.
You're kidding me.
No, and I'm going to give you 3 of their names, and you can come to your own conclusions. So 3 members of the same family died when the shop and the flat were destroyed last Sunday. So we went live. Then immediately after there was this explosion, and everybody...
We thought about coming back on.
Everybody on Twitter and in the YouTube space, right? Or not YouTube space, but just everybody on Twitter said, don't call it terrorism. Don't call it terrorism. It's just a gas explosion because they know
everybody
they were there.
Everybody is so quick to judge for it not to be terror.
Well... 3 men, well actually 6, there's been 6 arrests so far, and 3 men have been charged with manslaughter and arson, and this is the whole family here that were killed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But
That's heartbreaking.
Here are some of the names. Arum Kurd, Hawker Hassan, and Arkan Ali. Now, there's a conclusion over there. I give you free rein to jump to conclusions. Other people aren't allowed to jump to conclusions right now because they're saying it's just a crime.
I did it.
It's just a crime. Muslims can commit crime. It doesn't mean they're terrorists and exploding things. Those are Muslim names, by the way. That's not a conclusion to jump to. That's a fact. Nobody names.
It's like Yoder being Amish.
So this family here, Mary and her sons, Shane and Sean,
so 18 and 17 years old. They had the rest of their lives ahead of them.
They lived in the flat above the shop, and they passed away. And then there's another woman named Miss Rugbar, and I'm just...
No, that is her. Rugbar.
Okay, there was... Okay,
Raghubar.
Sorry, there was another woman. Okay, there was another body. There was a...
the 4th.
Yeah.
Death.
So, Police have made a 6th arrest in connection with the explosion. A man has been taken into custody. He's being questioned on suspicion of manslaughter. The news comes a week after this Polish shop called Zabka.
And from what I understand, it was a fairly new shop.
Okay.
That it had not been there that long. I don't know how long, but I think it was pretty recent. So why they attacked this specific shop is unknown, I think, at this point.
Here's some of the headlines. The Leicester.
I think it's just Leicester. Correct me if I'm wrong, people from the UK.
It exploded and pretty much took out like the whole thing. I mean, it was just gone. I was hoping to find a good picture here. But it looks like I'm not going to.
It's all what.
Oh, there was a video.
Isn't that the one that you tried to play in the beginning?
No, it was a different video. I was actually gonna try to
Leicester. Thank you. I was close with the Leicester.
I was close. All right. Well, I'm gonna move on because that one is just sad, and we don't know if it's a terrorist attack, but you can draw your own conclusions.
I'm gonna draw them right now. Give me a piece of paper. I'll let y'all know.
Yeah. So speaking of terrorism. Now, think about this. A 17-year-old was sentenced recently
to life.
A 17-year-old Welsh teen has been sentenced to at least 11 years in prison.
Okay, he'll get the opportunity for parole in 11 years. But he has been sentenced to life.
After being convicted of plotting an Islamic State-inspired attack on various targets, including a Justin Bieber concert. Judge Mark Wall on Friday sentenced Lloyd Gunton to an indeterminate sentence after concluding he had a total disregard for human life. Evidence during his trial showed that Gunton had researched several targets in Cardiff, the Welsh capital, including a shopping center and Bieber's performance on June 30th, 2017. And he lives in South Wales. At the sentencing, Wall said it's not possible to estimate how many people would have been murdered or seriously injured by your action as the attack was foiled. And the young man suffers on the autism spectrum. Go figure on that one. They use mentally disturbed. So here's the thing. We're not talking about a bombing of Justin Bieber's concert right now because they caught this kid.
Well, he had written some sort of martyrdom letter, and it said, "I am a soldier of the Islamic State. I have attacked Cardiff today because your government keeps on bombing targets in Syria and Iraq. There will be more attacks in the future," the boy's letter read.
Where is he getting this stuff? I mean, look at this kid. He looks like some regular old... I mean, he's like mentally disturbed.
Here, let me go ahead and show you guys his beautiful baby face here. Hang on.
So they're just getting everybody.
There he is.
Look at that.
He's like a child. He is a child. He is a child. Not like a child. He is a child.
Some Irish child.
So yeah.
Who was radicalizing this young man?
That's a good one.
All right, so this is kind of funny. I don't know if you guys took part in Tony Blair's poll by his Institute for Global Change. He asked some very leading questions. And he asked if Britain should, he says, which Brexit option do you want the government to choose? Please vote in our poll. To leave it whatever the cost, or to stay and rethink?
Leave it whatever the cost.
There were 174,000 votes in the results of Tony Blair's decidedly loaded Brexit poll, asking voters if they want Britain to leave at whatever cost or stay and rethink, and not therein. And I suspect he did not. I didn't get the result he was looking for. How long before the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change deletes it? So this is kind of funny. 70% say that they would like
70%. I know you guys can't see that because the background, when the screen's white, it just blurs out. But it is awesome.
Civilized world.
So yes, Tony Blair as the de facto leader of the so-called.
Sorry,
break the spirit of a Winchester.
Thing I have up with this kid.
My voice shall be heard from this wilderness, and I shall be delivered from this fetid and festering sewer.
Because I may need it.
For what?
For other things I want to bring up. Okay, it's fine.
Okay. All right. There we go.
Sorry.
So, he is the de facto leader of the Remain resistance, backed by billionaire Open Borders campaigner George Soros. And the former Prime Minister asked the public to please vote on whether the government should leave the European Union or, just stay and rethink a little bit. And Nigel Farage says, whoops, looks like Tony Blair got the wrong answer in his poll of mass destruction.
I love that. And here's the thing. They'll probably try to come out and say it was a bunch of trolls that voted. You can't make up numbers. 70%.
So Nigel was on. You guys have this program. I'm just figuring out that they travel, I guess, from town to town, and then they put on a question and answer thing in a town. Is that how this works? You all know what I'm talking about. Question time, answer time, whatever. Nigel Farage was on there.
Diane Abbott was supposed to be there.
It would have made it funnier. But I was really impressed with the range of people that they had. They had a young man who was for Brexit, a young woman, a businesswoman who was for Brexit.
They had Nigel.
And 2 guys who were against Brexit. So they did have 3-2 with the presenter there. And I was really impressed with everybody's answers. And, it was really good. I think the people are you guys need to get your voices out there. And I think you should continue to do that. I know it's really confusing right now. That was one thing in the question time. It's all confusing. Everything is confusing, even to the people who voted for Brexit. It's all confusing, and they're making it way too confusing. Thank you to
Jim West says Diana Abbott thought that it was midnight she was on.
All right, so this is now. We're gonna talk about tariffs for a little bit, but actually,
Can they not have gold chairs?
I'm not actually going to talk necessarily about the tariffs themselves per se. We're going to go into it a little bit. But President Trump has campaigned, and he has for years. There's a video surfaced from 2011 when he talked about tariffs. Mm-hmm. And he talked about not allowing the world to walk over the United States. There's like a $600 billion trade deficit. And what does that mean? It means that other countries tax our goods, but we don't tax their goods. Okay? So, for instance, in Europe, our cars, Americans' cars, are tariffed, right? So that European cars are sold at a higher rate. But we don't put the same tariff on European cars.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? And so, there's a Zero Hedge article out there that explains there's benefits to tariffs and then there's not. And I need to, for Patriot Gallery's sake and for your sake too, recognize that when our founding fathers imposed tariffs and funded our government on tariffs, we didn't have inflation.
Right.
And we didn't have fake money that you could just print out no matter what. And we had a gold standard. We had a silver standard, and those didn't change.
We dealt with, here's the thing,
for 200 years.
Hard line facts, hard line money,
right.
Tangible goods.
Right.
It is difficult, and I will admit,
right.
to go back to a tariff-based tax system with inflation, with the fiat currency.
And with the huge government that we have.
Exactly.
There's no way to fund our socialist state on tariffs. That's impossible.
Right.
If you have socialism, you have to have, you either have to go and literally take things out of people's homes, or you have to create this fake money and make people work. These 9-to-5 jobs is not allowed to be, you're not allowed to be, very few people can be artisans and craftsmen.
Right.
Because your goods and your tangible work isn't worth anything anymore.
Well, and it's why stay-at-home moms are frowned upon, because they're not putting money into the state. We are born and we are bred to live and work for the state. And if you're a stay-at-home mom, you're a national commodity that is not being utilized to what the state owns you as.
So with that as a prerequisite, my gut, I like the idea of tariffs, because when Trump campaigned, he campaigned on America first. And I realized that George Bush, he tried to put some steel tariffs out there and it didn't go very well. Ron Paul's against tariffs, and I get that. I go with my gut. When I saw Trump on the stage and he talked about making America first, I know that we have a huge trade deficit with China. China has like a $6 billion in, what do they call it? Intellectual thievery. So, for instance, when we were going to go to the solar eclipse, we were looking for solar eclipse little glasses, right? You can get them online. You can get them online for cheap. However, they were saying China will produce exact replicas and knockoffs that aren't as good and they can injure your eyes.
Right.
China steals people's property, but they don't care because as a communist country, they don't have the ethics that we have. They don't have the morals that we have. They are all about do what you can, take from whoever you want.
Right.
They're not a good country. They talk about that with Russia. Russia as a communist country is not good, but Russia's coming out of communism, trying to embrace Christianity. That's why we can embrace Russia again. So I'm all about.
Well, I want to explain to the people
not getting things from China.
So
I don't
they can
want
understand
to get anything from China ever again.
I don't believe that government worldwide, but especially here in America, is meant to create jobs,
right,
or to boost the economy. And many presidential candidates campaign on when I'm president, we'll create more jobs and we will boost the economy.
Right.
So the argument that is that Trump is saying America first, America first. He imposes these tariffs, and then through a series of circular reasoning, it actually ends up costing the United States citizen more money and takes jobs away from. That's the argument, away from U.S. citizens. And there is some truth to that. There's an incredible amount of truth to that. The difference is this. So people are saying, you know what, why, if he's trying to say America first, why would he want to cost Americans more money out of pocket? When they go to the grocery store, they're going to see that lumber costs more, that steel costs more, that plastics cost more. And I got to tell you guys something, it's going to, and it's going to hurt your pocketbook. But why we should do it, why we should be behind the tariffs is, especially in China, they produce these cheap goods on slave labor, and they put them into the United States, and we buy them and we consume them on slave labor. So that's reason number one. Reason number two why Trump may be trying to bring more industry back to the United States is he sees what's coming.
Right.
And it is possible that he knows that the dollar could collapse, which would create a massive upheaval and panic and crisis in the United States. It could create war with other nations. It could be really bad. If industry has started and we start producing our own goods that we rely on, that we need to subsist and exist, it could be that he is trying to prepare the American people for when we can't get goods from other countries. We can't be so reliant on, Cuba doesn't have any new cars. Why don't they have any new cars down there, Leah? Because they can't get them down there. What cars that are down there are the cars that are down there. Nothing else is going into Cuba. It is possible that Trump is doing this because regardless of whether it costs more money, here on our homestead, when we got started, it cost us more money to get this homestead up and running. Do you know why we did it? Because we knew ethically and morally that it was better for us to produce our own food. It was going to be healthier for us. We would be healthier as a family, make this all nationwide, right? Transfer this to the nation. And it is, it creates a stronger people in the end. So if you have to bite the bullet financially to do the right thing, to not support slavery, to become healthier as a nation, then yeah. So everybody just keeps looking at this. It's going to cost people more money. It's going to cost people more money. And this is just going to be bad, and jobs and this, that, and the other. Y'all people shouldn't even have jobs anyway. You should have your own industry. It's not about creating jobs. So yeah, it may hurt for a while. And I'm hoping that President Trump gets elected for his second term to actually see this thing through.
All right. So let's get on to the nitty gritty of some of this hilarious trade war going on right now. So U.S. President Donald Trump is getting tough on the European Union. And see, that sentence alone, I love it. All right? After the bloc's unelected leaders threatened to levy punitive tariffs on iconic American brands in response to his attempts to protect American steelworkers. Jean-Claude Juncker says, no, we will have to impose import tariffs. The president of the unelected European Commission at a black tie event in Hamburg, Germany. This is basically a stupid process, the fact that we have to do this, but we have to do it. We will now have to impose tariffs on motorcycles, Harley Davidson, on blue jeans, on Levi's, on bourbon, we can also do stupid. We also have to do this stupid. Stupid.
All right, let's do this.
Unfazed, the U.S. president fired back on Twitter. If the EU wants to further increase their already massive tariffs and barriers to U.S. companies doing business there, we will simply apply a tax on their cars, which pour freely into the U.S., he wrote. They make it impossible for our cars and more to sell there. Big trade imbalance. While the mainstream media in Britain and Europe has gone out of its way to paint President Trump's proposed aluminum and steel tariffs as unreasonable, it is true that the EU imposes tariffs of 10% on American cars, while the U.S. imposes tariffs of just 2.5% on EU-made cars, making American cars more expensive for British consumers and hurting American exporters. So,
for those of you that weren't here for Friday's show, Eric Buskey made a Patriot Gallery puppet.
Hi, everybody. You gotta love me.
You can just do your regular voice. It doesn't have to be a puppet voice.
I'm just saying that what people don't know is what they're afraid of. What would happen if God actually came on them and they were given the gifts they were born with? Each of us has a gift. Everybody, look right now, you hate your job. Everybody, it's like if you do a Gallup poll, you're going to find out everybody hates their job. Because you're not doing what you're called to do. You have a vocation. Something that you were born. It's a gift in you. Justin came back to a gift of blacksmithing, and he loved doing this. Matt always desired to do this sawmilling and working with wood. There are gifts that you have that God would shine through you, and you would shine because you were using the gifts that God has, and you can be proud of the gift that you have, and you develop that gift. Your parents should have found this gift. You know, in school you do these stupid tests, and they tell you what you'd be good at as a slave to the government and to industries.
The same thing in China.
They're testing you to see how they could use you. It's not for you. You know, I thought it was for me. I just thought I just got healed. I mean, I realized, my gosh, that was for them to use me as a slave. But your parents should watch you, see what you're gifted at. Leah's a gifted painter. I mean, you haven't seen her. She learned faces. Once you knew faces, you know you're a gifted painter because faces are like impossible. But her gift shines out of her. So Michelle has these gifts, and Michelle has more of a prophecy gift. You know, over time, your gifts will shine. And so don't be afraid of Trump doing this. The less you have in this world's goods, the more you'll have the power of God and the gifts of God, something to really be proud of.
Thank you, Patriot Gallery.
That was
Thank you,
beautiful.
Isn't that beautiful?
That was beautiful.
We can thank Eric for that.
Thank you, Eric, for that. All right, so here's the thing. If Theresa May were smart, she would get this going and get some trade deals with the United States. Trump is ready to make great trade deals with the UK, like today, okay? The EU is not, they don't do anything in good faith, right? No. What when I was reading some articles about the EU tariffs and things like that, it's really imbalanced. It really is, so that the EU has a better grip than the American manufacturer.
Right.
And it's not fair. And so that's what Trump is saying. So the people in the EU crying, well, you've been cheating for too long. I'm sorry.
Too long.
You know? But it's not you. I'm talking to the EU bosses, the mob there. So I wanna
I'm excited about the tariffs. I don't care. I don't rely. My life doesn't rely on cheap Chinese goods.
What type of relationship would be most advantageous to the UK in terms of its relationship with the US post-Brexit?
Well, the UK right now inadvertently has much higher taxes on imports from the US than the US has on imports from the UK. That's because the UK is bound by the EU system. So we would like to see those barriers come down, come closer to free trade. The EU talks a good job of free trade, but in fact it practices extreme protectionism.
That's a word that maybe you guys aren't familiar with, and I wasn't, in all honesty, until this talk of tariffs came up. Protectionism. That's what they refer to when you're looking out for your country's goods and trade deals first. And China has an intense amount of protectionism, and America is literally the least protectionistic country when it comes to trades in the entire world. And so you had read an article, I think from Breitbart, that said it's a little bit ironic that the countries that are the most protectionistic are the ones that are crying when the least protectionistic country decides, you know what, maybe we're going to do a little bit more in that area.
Right. Yeah. So what's very interesting is that these the aluminum and steel tariffs are really only going to really only aimed at China, because China has this huge surplus. They're kind of dumping their steel. But the EU is upset because the tariffs apply to the EU as well, because the World Trade Organization's most favored nation rules require the U.S. to treat all third countries the same unless they have a trade deal, and the EU has consistently failed to negotiate one. So this is all about China and the EU, and so it's kind of weird. And I wanted to kind of just bring you that. You can chew on it. You can think about it. You can leave your comments in how things are going to go. I know we all love our cheap goods, and it's really hard to part with them, but I do believe it's way more important to find things here in your own country or wherever you're at first, and then make trades with people in other countries. That's just logic.
You should be trading for goods in other countries, things that they produce, easier and better and cheaper naturally, because they have more of it. All right? We get bananas, from... Where do we get bananas from besides Florida?
I don't think we get bananas from Florida.
Okay, well, wherever we get our fruit from that we can't grow here in the Midwest, I'm saying those types of things are the things that you should be importing. You know what I mean?
Mangoes from
We
Texas.
don't grow sugar cane here in the United States.
I think there's like one tea place in the United States. So anyways, yeah, things that
bananas were what I was thinking. South America, thank you. That's where we probably get our bananas.
Probably the Philippines, Southeast Asia.
Pineapples, things like that. And those are just food things. But I'm just saying there are other things that other countries do really well, and we don't. We can trade with them for those things.
Right. That's why Juncker was threatening Harley Davidson, Bourbon, and Levi's, because they were iconic American brands.
Kate says Hawaii grows the cane sugar. That's all right. That's in the United States.
All right. So, going to Ireland. 93% of Irish locals vote against a plan to dump 115 migrants in a small historic town. More than 9 in 10 residents have voted against a plan to plant 115 migrants in the small town of Lisdoonvarna. The Irish government says there can be no delay in beginning to transfer the first batch of asylum seekers it intends to accommodate in a hotel.
They're all correcting me on the sugar thing. Mississippi grows it. Louisiana grows it.
I didn't know
I didn't know we
sugar
grew
cane?
it.
Not just okay. Well, cool. There we go.
What else kind of cane were you talking about?
Sugar cane. Well, we were sugar beets. I know that.
Right.
All right. Intends to accommodate in a hotel in a town of just 300 people. So you got 300 people, and they want to put in 115 migrants in this small town. In a secret ballot held at a meeting in the County Clare town on Wednesday, 197 locals voted against the plan, compared to just 15 who voted in favor. Owner of the King Tolman Hotel, Marcus White, who plays a key role in tourism to Lisdoonvarna, told residents of the 300-strong heritage town, home to one of Ireland's oldest folk festivals, that he would respect their wishes. If the village is not able to accommodate 115 people, so be it. I'm not going to do something to hurt this town, he said, urging the hotel manager to honor his word in the wake of the decisive ballot. The chairman said, "I hope Marcus will listen now and reconsider. We really appreciate everything he does for the village, bringing in tourists, but it's just too much for the community to handle." It's not a question that we don't want these people, professing that while the residents feel sympathetic towards refugees, the village lacks the resources needed to cater for a 38% increase in population overnight. So, the people got together.
25 people registered coming in the door to vote. And thank you all very much for coming tonight and start us right.
I don't know if they can hear it or not.
We had 214 votes. 197 no, that we don't want this to go ahead, and 15 for yes, 2 abstentions, and 6 people didn't vote. So I think that sends a message that 197 people don't want this to go ahead.
Local government at its best, at its finest. This is like Brexit on a large scale. On a small scale. That's what I meant to say. I got it backwards. All right, so who's going to go to Italy with me?
I don't know. We've got an Antonio Rossi here. Says, I like my country out of the EU, but Italians are too stupid. I disagree.
I don't know. Well, from what we're understanding and from what the headlines we're getting, it might just happen. But this is very interesting. One of the prior to, there's this black woman who was on, I guess, in some sort of government position, and she says that Italy must be guided in its change of population due to immigration. Listen, racism is bad, but the problem is when somebody has a certain characteristic and the entire mass of people with a certain characteristic are acting a certain way. And we don't do hate speech, we don't do racism, because in America we got plenty of black people, white people, Hispanic people, all kind of people, and everybody gets along, everybody's equal. But the Africans coming up, their culture is not American. I mean, we get along because we're Americans. It's not the fact that they're black people coming up. It's the fact that they are coming from a different culture and they happen to be black. And that's how you can recognize them as being from a different culture with different values. It just so happens if they all had, red hair, it would be the red-haired people. If they all had blue skin, it'd be all the blue-skinned people, okay?
There are no blue-skinned people, though.
Well, you know what I mean. I'm just saying that it's not the color of the skin that causes people to act a certain way.
It's their culture.
It's a culture and how they're raised. So these people raised in these war-torn countries with Sharia law, treating women as second citizens, second-hand criminal behavior coming from poverty-ridden areas. And then they bring that baggage with them, and I'm sure that the black people, I'm positive, the black people and the Muslims before this most recent immigration, they came and they wanted to integrate into the culture and into the UK or into Germany.
Right.
One of my dear friends, when I was going to Bible college, was a black woman who's German. Her whole family's black. And she's German, and she's, I asked her, I said, do you think in English or you think in German? She's German. She's born German. She's German.
She said, no, I think in German. Even though her English is impeccable. She sounds like an American.
But she's German. And she, like I said, she's German. She's black, but she's German. She's German through and through. From the bottom of her toes to the tip of her head. She's German, right? But the people coming in, they want to bring in their own culture. Mm-hmm. They don't want to be German, right? They don't want to be Italian, right? So that's where we have the clash of the cultures.
Yeah.
Not the clash of the colors. And unfortunately, I will say that more ignorant people might see it a clash of colors.
True.
And it's best to educate people and say, no, not all people of this color act this way, but we have to be able to use common sense and say, listen, and like
everybody knows the phrase, there's a cultural barrier here, there's a cultural barrier there, just in communications. And I'm not saying, you guys in the UK, we're supposed to be, we both speak English, we're supposed to be really similar, right? And we have found since the inception of our show last year, for the past year, there are so many differences just between being a UK citizen and an American citizen.
Right.
It's a clash of cultures. It just so happens that our cultures are more likely to meld easier together, but it would be very difficult for me to move to the UK. I love you guys there, but it would be hard. Our culture is just so different.
All right, so this woman, she is the first African, I guess she's from the Congo, and was Italy's former minister for integration. Cecile Kenye, I think, said the present situation in Italy is surreal because of the level of hostility towards immigration found among several political parties. And I hate that they use the word immigration. It's illegal migrants. Illegal migration. Okay? Illegal migration.
The fact that these people seem to think, and I say these people because there are so many, that believe that we should have free movement all over the entire world. That you should be able to go wherever you want to go and live wherever you want to live and join whatever country you want to join, and then they have to support you and give money.
When you have the social benefits, if there weren't social benefits, what would these people do? They'd starve to death.
Yeah.
So it's the socialistic, communistic bedrock that allows for this.
Yeah.
Because people don't go play, like, America's a melting pot. You got dropped on the shores. There was no fast food. There's no welfare. You're not going to get free treatment at a hospital. You're not going to get free housing. You got to work, right? And so people who came here, that's what we call the American spirit. You don't have that when you're just given free things. Some guy killed a woman or attacked a woman. I don't know if he actually killed her over Wi-Fi, I think, in Sweden because they didn't have Wi-Fi. These people are insane, okay? And so, yeah, we got to talk about it. So she says that during the electoral campaign, she said, few speak about their political programs, but rather of the mal-ease of the population, or rather the people's fear, and that's not Italy. She told the Swiss radio that countries like Italy, Spain, and Greece have found themselves facing a migrant crisis by themselves when they should receive greater support from the European Union. What she's saying is money. Money, 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 money. You can't solve this problem with money. She also said that racism exists and Italy needs to be guided in this change. I can say this change of population, the change in the composition of the population brought about by immigration. These are false words to be using. This isn't immigration, okay? And this is an invasion of illegal migrants. So yeah, there is a definite plummeting birth rate amongst Native Italians, and
are you going to talk about the other birth rate thing?
Probably not today.
Okay. Oh.
Machiavelli, I could. That was funny. That was a funny article. Machiavelli Research Institute reported that Italy's fertility rate is less than half of what it was in 1964, dropping from 2.7 children per woman to just 1.5, a replacement level of 2.1. I love how when we talk about replacement levels, everybody's like, global warming, population control, but then when you really look at the numbers, populations are falling, so it's just kind of really weird. So anyways, yes, immigration is the big thing. It's a big thing at the voting box, and I said it myself. It's illegal migrants. So if you want to take some comments on that, because I know a lot of people have their own, what they have to say.
I don't know. I mean, there's really not a whole lot going on as far as that. You know, Eric's talking about it is a race thing. And I disagree. I think it's definitely just a culture thing.
No, black people aren't more prone to being violent. It's culture. I mean, we go back in history. That's what really bothers me when people say this, and it's just ignorance. And so we just try to educate each other. You guys, Vikings. Have you heard of Vikings? Do we go and rape and pillage? We are from Viking lineage, right? Do we go down the African coast and rape and pillage people? You know, no, we don't, because we've evolved, because we became Christians.
Yeah, we're better than that.
Okay.
The bee lady had said on here that now I can't find it. According to the globalist plans, the U.S. was the last country that was going to fall to immigration or migration. I'm hoping that we're having a turnaround. Here's the thing, guys. It takes all of us standing up. They're standing up in Poland. They're standing up in Italy. We are standing up. And there are people standing up in the UK. I think that Brexit, a huge part of Brexit had to do with what Merkel did by opening the doors and letting all these migrants in. Right. So I think that it bears giving hope. Is my point.
Is it Patriot Gallery back?
Patriot Gallery. You need me to get the puppet?
No. I just think some things should be said 2 or 3 or 4 times so it sinks into people. Leah said something. We were brute animals. We were Vikings. But we became Christians. We knew Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. We read the Bible. We tried to live according to Christ's teachings. Mm-hmm. Now, if people come to Italy, who is Catholic, and Catholic has to be Christian, right? They got to become Catholics. They got to become Christians. They have to put aside their Muslim way of doing things. They're going to have to turn from that sinful way. It's a sinful life. To dominate the world is sinful, and their whole religion on dominate the world. We go out and we conquer the world in the name of Jesus Christ. Just set people free so they can live a peaceful, quiet life and not be ruled over by sin that lives inside them.
I'm not trying to take this from you, but last time they said it was too loud when it was that close.
Leah,
So don't go that
that
close.
2 or 3 times.
No,
yeah, definitely.
Rip Baza wanted me to mention, and he wanted me to share the video, but I don't think we'll have time to do that today. But Tommy Robinson has been banned on Twitter for making a stand for calling these things out, and it's a really big deal.
Well, he called out Muslim grooming gangs.
He said that 90% of grooming gangs were Muslims.
Right.
The specific percentage is 84%, and Twitter banned him because he was 6 percentages off.
Trying to find. I know that there's got to be. Thought I was gonna. There we go. That's what I want. All right. So here we go. Here are the different candidates right now in their parties. I don't know how right they are. More Europe, Democratic Party, 5-Star Movement. So these 3 here are your Euro skeptics. They're the ones who could possibly. I've been trying to watch to see if there was anything coming in recently, because it's happening today. It's right now. So, let's see. Turnout. 50. Looks like 58% turnout. Turnout at 7 p.m. local time confirmed higher than in 2016, which was the constitutional referendum. So people are going. People are.
And I have to believe that, as with Trump,
mm-hmm.
the reason why more people are turning out to the polls is because they are concerned,
right,
about what is happening in their country. Now, it's possible that some of those people might be concerned that they will leave the European Union. But that doesn't seem to be on exactly the radar right now. It's migration. Migration is the big topic in Italy right now and the big concern. So I believe in my gut and in my prayers and my hope that the reason that these people are turning out in mass is because they are sick and tired of seeing their streets overrun with people that are not embracing the Italian culture.
Right.
That's the best way I think we can say it.
So, Steve Bannon is actually there right now. He is observing the Italian elections, and there's another article on Breitbart that he one of his articles on the front page of Italy's newspaper today, saying that Italy has the same movement behind it that Trump did, and encouraging that, and that he says that the European Union is vicious and dismissive towards Britain, and adding that the bloc is treating British voters with contempt. Bannon, who's in Italy to observe the elections today, told The Telegraph that Brussels has been vicious and dismissive towards Britain since the Brexit vote. The contempt that Brussels has shown for the mandate of the working men and women of Great Britain who want out has been to me nothing short of shocking. They haven't accommodated anything. They have made everything as tough as possible. It's not even a negotiation. It's just been a fiat. And so Yeah, he said, I would say to the Italians, look at how Brussels has responded to the mandate the British people gave their government to get out of the EU. He said, describing the rise of the populist parties such as the Five Star Movement and Matteo Salvini's Lega Party as an indictment of the European establishment. Italy is, more than anywhere else in the world right now, even more than Brexit, even more than the Trump revolution in the U.S., the cutting edge of the sovereignty movement of people saying we've tried to play by the rules, we've voted in center-left governments and center-right governments, and none of that worked. So now people are looking at another alternative. What they want is power back to the people in a populist revolt. He said he predicted the hysteria in Brussels, a populist reform as strongly as expected in Italy. This election is an existential threat to the EU because Italy was a founding member of the European project, and there is no country in Europe that bought in more to the European project than Italy. Italians put their faith in the institutions of Europe, but those institutions drove the economic problem and the problem of migration. What you see is an absolutely rational reaction to institutional failure, and that is why this election is so important. And, said better than I could.
Well said, Bannon.
Well said, Bannon. So, I'm excited. I used this different, more than the French elections, more than the Netherlands elections. You know which way this one is going to go. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just how far.
Exactly, that is the question.
And in every European election, it's gone farther towards populism than what the left had expected. So if they know that it's going to go at least to a certain, I think it's just going to go over the edge.
Because when it came to our election here with Trump, everybody said Hillary's going to get it. It's in the bag. And at least here with the Italian elections, these people are smart enough to say this is going bad.
This is going bad.
Bad for us.
Yeah.
So it's going to be worse than bad. Hopefully that's our.
Speaking of elections, Merkel finally, every day there's Merkel doesn't have her grand coalition. She does have it. She doesn't have it. She does. I'm really confused because I've heard this same line. She's made a grand coalition 10 times.
Yeah.
And then it's suddenly not there again. I guess this is for real. So I'm going to play for you. We're going to go to Germany now.
So what's here today?
Hey, so what?
He can't live stream. He's been striked too many times.
The Social Democrats have
I'm really sorry.
confirmed a coalition government with Angela Merkel's Christian Democrats. That means the Chancellor will enter her 13th year in power. And the question is now, how will the parties cooperate given their opposing views on migration? RT's Europe correspondent Peter Oliver takes a look at developments.
When Germany finally gets round to having a government again, one of the main issues it's going to face is the number of small towns and cities that have slammed the door in the face of migrants, flat out saying they're not going to take any more foreigners. The latest is Pirmasens in the southwest, close to the French border. The town took in more than 1,000 asylum applicants, most of whom were successful. Pirmasens had been a centre for footwear manufacturing, but with those jobs long gone, it slipped into steady economic decline. Now the mayor's office has said they simply don't have the money to take anyone else, and the state government has agreed with them, for now anyway.
We are ready to provide short-term help to Pirmasens as the town is in a unique situation.
The mayor has come out this week and thanked the government for giving us a breather, but locals say this simply had to happen.
We really don't have enough money, especially this city. Yeah.
I know that it is a problem in school, in the kindergarten, because they have not enough teachers. Also, there are poor people in Germany, and in Pirmasens there are a lot of poor people, and so the people here in Pirmasens say, don't take so a lot of refugees.
If Pirmasens had more money, then they could take more refugees. But that must be paid by the government.
It's not the only town to impose similar measures. Earlier this year, I visited...
Socialism is evil. Do you see how they're saying if the town has more money? That's people taking money from other people to give to other people. Okay? Charity is wonderful, and I want everyone to give to someone. Okay? This is where the socialists and the Christians, we will fight you. Because while there are poor people sitting on the street, you want to come to me, pull money out of my pocket, and then you say you're going to help that person the way you feel is right. Or I want to encourage people to love the Lord and follow Jesus Christ and to give. Most charities are always started by Christians. Christians give more of their income than every atheist. Okay? All the studies show atheists don't give to charities in any sort of measure as Christians give to charities. And that's what we do. But we want to give to people, and we want to make sure that it's going straight to the people. We were looking at some of the numbers in the charities. It's like 70% is waste. 70%.
Because there's multiple middlemen in between.
Who are taking
cream off the top. And here's the difference also. The reason why charity, when it's done by churches and individuals, works, and when it's done by government, it does not, is because not only is there a spiritual aspect, but there is a personal aspect that happens. I now know who you are. I care about what happens to you. So maybe I gave you $20, but then I may help you move. Mm-hmm. Okay. I may listen to your phone calls at midnight. Mm-hmm. Okay. I may help you back on your feet because there's a personal level, and the government wants to sever that personal level because they want to keep these people always asking for more and keep them submissive, because then they have voters without the consequences of somebody that has a conscience.
There's another reason, because they want to take your money. They just want to take your money. They just want to have power over you. Yeah. How many of you, it's this evil thing in us. It's easier to spend other people's money than our own, right?
Right.
Cottbus, around 120 kilometres or so from Berlin, it's imposed a stop on asylum applicants. That's after a number of violent incidents involving refugees and far-right groups.
Germany should start controlling its borders and stop the uncontrolled migration that has been going on for 2.5 years. And Merkel must go. The government should change, or it won't get any better.
There are different reasons why people have to flee, but we have to distinguish those from economic reasons. Those who truly seek refuge should be granted asylum status, but we need to separate between those who really look for shelter and those young, strong and mobile men who managed to get all the way to Germany.
Young, strong, mobile men, able-bodied men. If these guys are so great, why can't you just, start schools and universities and educate them to create greatness in Africa? This is what I don't understand. And I know it's so racist and everything like that. European colonialism. European colonialism has not been around since the beginning of time. Okay? You cannot blame all of Africa's problems on European colonialism. Okay? You can't blame the fact that they have not reached a level of industrialization, which I'm against. I don't want industrialization, but you can't blame the fact that they haven't reached industrialization.
Can somebody explain to
me
Europe what the difference between Europeans going to Africa and educating and bringing them to a first world country status, or at least attempting to? What is the difference between that and them leaving their country to try to obtain it in someone else's country?
Yeah.
And Saxony took action to halt the arrival of more refugees for the next 4 years, saying there just wasn't enough kindergarten and school places in the town.
We are not xenophobic, which we are often accused of being. We are dealing with integration. We want to guarantee integration. We have done a lot, but when in the end there is no space, what are we supposed to do?
This summer, it'll be 3 years since Angela Merkel opened Germany to refugees and migrants, and the consequences of that decision are still weighing heavy on the country's small towns. Peter Oliver, Art.
It's one thing to have migrants and refugees. It's another thing for them not to be grateful, for them not to want to integrate.
Right.
I mean, it's...
Don't get too close to the mic. Stay right there.
Well, the question is, are these people bringing any of this in? These
are silver dimes.
This is from Europe. This is UK. As silver. Are any of these people bringing real silver? And you have to ask yourself and ask your government, what happened to all the silver that our great-great-grandparents had?
You guys can see that or not.
When you carry silver in your pocket and you get a big old silver dollar that's like this big, you're not going to give it away so easily. And when they come to take it from you, you're going to wait, this is real. The dollars and your euros aren't real.
Right.
Okay, and so you can easily give it away. The government say, come on in, Somalians. Come on in, Muslims. We have this fake money. We'll give it all to you. But what they do with that is they take your land that your great-great-grandparents have worked their lives on to farm it and give you a living and give you a life. And God gave you that life. And they can't just come and take it with this fake money. It's not real.
But it's like playing Monopoly where Leah, generous as she was, when we played Monopoly, Leah was always the banker. She's the older sister. She was smarter. And she wanted more money. You start out with a set amount of money. Leah wanted more money, so we all got extra hundreds.
And 500s.
And 500s.
Gold ones.
Because she gave out extra money. And when it's just paper money and it doesn't actually affect you, when it's just adding zeros to a bank account, just a stinker, it doesn't affect you. And that's
I didn't cheat! If I'm going to take extra, I'm giving it to everybody.
But these people are not just taking what Patriot Gallery is saying is if you were using hard money, you would probably protect it a little bit more than just allowing all of this fake fiat money to be given to these migrants. Right. Michael Constantine says, actually, in other countries, charity is more from non-religious. Could be compensating. Charity starts at home, your family, your street, your town, and so on. If you have to go abroad, the local is best.
What we need to do is ask, where is the gold and the silver? We know Rothschild over there has a lot of it. That means his land isn't his. It belongs to the people because the gold and silver he stole from the people.
I'm afraid that we're going to get a channel strike if Mom asks us to storm the Vatican.
Okay. That's true.
To get the gold.
Yep. German school with 99% migrant background pupils forced to hire security. A German elementary school in Berlin, which contains a pupil population who almost all hail from migrant backgrounds, has been forced to hire security guards because of escalating violence. The school, which teaches children between 6 and 12, has seen a recent increase in violent incidents, both among the pupils and directed at the teachers. The Schulzenberg Spreewald Elementary School, I probably said that right, decided that the attacks were becoming so bad that the only solution was to hire a security company who would be able to intervene and stop the violence. The headmaster of the school said that they had 30 major, what is major versus a minor, violent incidences.
That's a good question.
Reported in last year alone. Within the past year, the violence has increased so much we had to take measures. This is children, right? 6 to 12. 6 to 12 children acting out in extreme violence.
Major.
So 99% from migrant backgrounds. It says that in 2016, Breitbart London reported that 40% of children under 5 years old in Germany come from migrant backgrounds. What's that going to look like in 20 years? Wow, 40%. In the same year, the German population grew by 346,000 due to mass migration. So, yeah, it says it's shocking how violent even elementary school children are, but added that his staff can speak German, Turkish, and Arabic, which ensures trust in the pupils and the parents. We are watchdogs for them. Parents and the children had mixed reactions to hiring of security guards. One father said the guards made the school seem like a prison, while another said it was more positive. So, what do you guys think about that? That's yay. Merkel finally admits no-go zones exist in Germany.
It can only go so long before you have to.
Merkel has admitted the existence of no-go zones where outsiders are afraid to enter in Germany just months after Breitbart editor-in-chief Raheem Kassim comprehensively documented their existence in his groundbreaking book, which you can get. What's it called again? I think it's just called
No-Go Zones.
How Sharia Law is Coming to a Neighborhood Near You.
Wow.
Near you. In an interview with RTL earlier this week, the acting chancellor also conceded that the huge influx of third world migrants who arrived after her decision to throw open the border in 2015 raised multiple questions. That's like saying, hey, how do you like this? It's interesting. It's interesting. That's nice. Merkel has said she is in favor of a zero-tolerance approach to crime. Liar.
Zero tolerance, really? Like, zero tolerance, I would think, would be not allowing the criminals in to start with.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I think it means zero tolerance to hate speech online. That's probably what it's referenced to.
Yeah.
Because actually, the EU has now asked Facebook to get rid of anything bad within an hour. So like anything that has to do with even pedophilia or terrorism or things like that, you got an hour to do it. But they admitted that they want hate speech and, you know, homophobia. And
I actually can understand as a parent, right? You don't want your kids to learn about rapes. You don't want your kids to have to learn about the awful things in this world, pedophilia, bad things. So I can understand as a parent you saying, you know what? That's getting shut down. That does not enter into our house. That does not enter into your eyes. That doesn't go in your eye gate, your ear gate. You don't know that exists. You are a child. You are meant to be oblivious to the negativity and the awfulness of this world. The EU is trying to act like a parent to the world and saying we can't allow these awful things that are happening to go before people's eyes. They can't know that these things happen because they can't handle it. No, we need to know that it's happening so that we can put a stop to it. And that's what they're afraid of because they want it to continue.
She says that that means, for example, that there are no-go areas where no one dares to go, said the German leader, stating, one has to call them by their name and do something about them. We cannot just stand by while there are different standards of security in different regions, noting that the CDU would like to see the development of a standardized model of policing for across the country. The existence of no-go zones in Europe had been a matter of debate, with liberal commentators insisting that they were fiction. Germany's leader acknowledgement of the existence of no-go zones was welcomed in Hungary, where the government spokesman Zoltán Kovács noted that the nation's prime minister has been I don't even know what that word is. Prime Minister Viktor Orban has been saying virtually the same thing for years now when urging Europe to make broader security the first priority. If we cannot defend our borders and maintain our security, he has said, then our hard-won liberties like the freedom of movement in the EU will be in jeopardy. That we're finally calling them by name signals a step in the right direction, says the secretary there from Hungary.
So what says she finally admitted it after a decade?
Now this, I'm going to go to Sweden here for a second because this is very disturbing to me. There's a Swedish woman who made an online jokes about Islam and could be jailed for 2 years.
I cannot believe that. I actually can believe it.
A 32-year-old woman from Gothenburg could be locked up for 2 years after making some Facebook jokes about Islam. This is not funny. According to police reports, the woman is charged with talking in a negative or threatening way about a group of people after she posted cartoons about Islam on Facebook. So it looks like there's your brain, you put poop in your brain, and then you become a terrorist or something. I don't know. The preliminary investigation was started after she was reported to the police. The woman had to undergo a degrading interrogation and had to submit DNA as well. During the police hearing, a woman apologized for her post and said she had nothing against ordinary Muslims, only ISIS. I read a lot and looked at a lot of documentaries about ISIS and how they treated people. I didn't mean it in a bad way. She later said, my best friend is Muslim, so I don't have a problem with Muslims. But Gothenburg's prosecutor, Sarah Torskog, chose to move on with the case and prosecute the woman for hate speech. Yeah, so here's the thing. They don't have enough police to investigate rapes and child pedophilia. But this is what is most important to the prosecutors in Sweden.
How do these people even get jobs? It's a woman, right? The prosecutor's a woman. Lee and I were talking about this last night, and I gotta tell you guys, I'm not a misogynist. I'm a woman. I like to refer to myself as a young lady, even though I'm technically not, I'm just a woman, but whatever. But girls are crazy. Women, crazier. Females, nuts. They are. They just are. We are inherently cray-cray. Very difficult to understand. Hard to live with. It's only through the power of God that a woman can be peaceable to live with. I'm just telling you, they're insane. The fact that Sweden is in the position that it is in is because women have taken over. All right? The Bible talks about this, man. It calls them silly women.
Well, these silly women are molesting some of the younger migrants living in the thing. They're just weird. They just have this weird weirdness.
Yeah.
New York Times reveals Trump, Breitbart, right on gang crime grenade attacks in Sweden. The New York Times has broken ranks with the establishment media, publishing an effective mea culpa over the mainstream denial of migrant-related gang crime in Sweden. The paper, which previously mocked President Trump for highlighting Sweden's migrant problems, talked about this on its Sunday edition. Weapons from a faraway, long-ago war are flowing into immigrant neighborhoods here, puncturing Swedes' sense of confidence and security. The country's murder rate remains low by American standards, and violent crime is stable or dropping in many places, but gang-related assaults and shootings are becoming more frequent, and the number of neighborhoods categorized by the police as marred by crime, social upset, and insecurity is rising. Crime and immigration are certain to be key issues in September's general election, alongside the traditional debates over education and healthcare. Sweden's immigration problems have been reported by Breitbart. And when, in 2015, the site dispatched reporters to the country to describe the worsening conditions in many migrant-dominated suburbs. Additionally, Breitbart London interviewed Sweden Democrats leader Jimmy Akinson, and the only politician in the country willing to speak openly about the problems. The establishment media dismissed Akinson and his Sweden Democrats as neo-Nazis. The party currently commands third place. In February, we heard about Trump saying, "Look what's happening in Sweden last night in Sweden," and it was just because Tucker Carlson talked about Sweden the night before. And then the establishment media said, "Whoa, nothing's going on in Sweden." But every day there's another horrible crime, and these
there's not another. There's several every single day in Sweden. There are multiple rapes,
right?
Lots of violence that goes on. And they don't want the world to know about it. That's why they're trying to censor the woman in Sweden. Amber, we don't get to see her very often, but she's here today.
Hey,
and she's
Amber.
saying that her video keeps freezing. I don't think that that's a coincidence. I don't think it's your software. Literally, when we talk about these kinds of topics, I don't know how YouTube knows. I don't know. I have no idea. They literally go in. They have little men in their machines.
There's two more stories I want to bring to you. I know it's kind of negative. I hate to bring negative things.
I'll spin it positively. Whatever it is. Shoot.
So, let me see if I can...
Don't forget the thing. The other thing. The having kids thing.
Oh, okay.
What is that?
I know, there's...
I may not be able to spin that positively.
I don't think you can spin anything positively here. Where are you? Here we are. Okay, could somebody tell me if this is a thing? Because I've never heard of this. UK people. This man, called the Black Cab Rapist, is going to get 24-hour protection costing £300,000 a year when he's released from prison. John Warboys, the Black Cab Rapist, could get 24/7 security costing £300 a year if he's released from prison. The sex fiend, who is feared to have attacked more than 100 women, how he's not jailed, he was supposed to be jailed indefinitely in 2009. He drugged women and sexually assaulted them in the back of his taxi, but now the taxpayer will have to foot the bill to keep this monster safe when he's allowed back onto the streets.
Because what, are they afraid that the victim's family are going to come after and hunt him down?
Yeah. Somebody tell me how that's a thing. I have never heard of a government ever protecting a prisoner after they're gone. I don't understand it. I've never heard of this. How can that be a thing? 24/7 security for a criminal? I don't get that. Now, this is the last story. Somebody said this isn't on the British news. This isn't on the British news. This is the biggest story. But I'm not going to put it in the title.
Yeah, we'll get a community guidelines straight.
This is huge. This teacher literally brainwashed his classroom of children in the UK to become jihadi terrorists. He showed them videos of beheadings, talked about how great it is to be a martyr. In London, a Muslim school teacher was found guilty on Friday of attempting to recruit children into an army of jihadists to assist in carrying out a wave of terror attacks across London. And if I wasn't afraid of getting strikes, I'm not afraid, but nobody wants to get strikes, and I don't want to be taken out.
You would get a strike. We almost will get a strike just for talking about it, even though it's truth, it's fact. He's been arrested, or he's been convicted.
He's been arrested.
He's been arrested for doing this. That's
found
factual.
guilty. Found guilty.
Okay, so found guilty.
Yeah.
That's
so I would love to put this in the title. I would love to just make a whole video, just put this in the title, and just talk about this for an hour.
Heather says, this is why we homeschool.
Umar Haq, yes, Heather, a 25-year-old British supporter of the Islamic State, reportedly showed children violent Islamic propaganda, including beheading videos, and forced the youngsters to rehearse attacks on police officers in the Bristol capital.
What made him think he was going to get away with this?
As part of his defense, Haq argued that lying and jihad constituted part of his religion and blamed fascists and police for his crimes, telling jurors he had been preparing self-defense against fascist uprising and said there were fascist police as well as fascist groups. So he was teaching children and preparing them to fight the fascist British police officers.
Hang on, though. So back up. That's the Muslim word there is, I think, taqiyya.
Yes.
And it allows them to lie, like literally. You know how it's been a thing for years. We watched that movie. You don't want to renounce God, or it was called Silenced or something like that, where you don't want to step on the face of Jesus or whatever. I'm like, dude, just step on the face of Jesus. You're not going to hell. Okay, like forget that Jack. But they are allowed to lie, and they could proclaim the name of Jesus. They could become ministers. You know what I mean? And still be a good Muslim as long as in their heart they followed Allah and their plan was to carry out something against Christians and things like that. So they are literally infiltrated in the highest levels of government and churches and stuff, even right now.
There's more than one.
If he is going to try to use that taqiyya as a defense in court by saying that according to my religion, I was allowed to lie and allowed to do this, and so now you can't find me guilty.
Right.
No.
I can't believe that you said his defense. It is believed that Haq was self-radicalized online and was inspired by an attack in March 2017 when Khalid Massoud mowed down pedestrians in London's Westminster Bridge in a rented car, killing 4 before stabbing police officer to death. As I talked to Piers Morgan, are you going to ban cars and renting cars?
No more cars for you people over there.
The man claimed to form part of a death squad sent by Allah after the Westminster attack. Using role-playing, Haq sought to prepare a young army for Islamist terror attacks to be carried out in locations such as the Palace of Westminster and Westfield Shopping Center. Now, this is why I cannot side with the Palestinians. I realize that Israel does things on a level that our government does. And they murder people. The CIA murders people. I get it. It's bad. But the Palestinians do the same thing in their schools every day. They teach their children to go in and massacre Israelis.
Right.
And they teach them from the time they're little. I mean, we've seen their videos online. They put them online. They're proud of it. Right? It's a Muslim thing. Sorry.
Community guideline strike.
I know. Prosecutors claim that Haq intended to use his child soldiers to assail highly visible London targets such as the Big Ben Tower, soldiers from the Queen's Guards, a large shopping center, banks, and media stations. He tried to prepare the children for martyrdom by making them role-play terrorist attacks. Part of that role-playing was reenacting attacking police officers. The role-playing also included making the children reenact Massoud's Westminster Bridge assault. This is the dirtiest, rottenest, most vile thing you can do to a child. This is a raping of the mind. Because this is as bad as molesting children. This is as bad as if he had just molested all 100 children. Asking them to act out a murder.
Yeah, that breaks the mind. Gets right into the child's psyche.
Showing them porn is no different than showing them beheadings, which actually to the next level, telling them that's what they are going to need to do.
I can't even watch a beheading. I mean, that's really, really harsh as an adult to watch.
His plan was to create an army of children to assist with multiple terrorist attacks throughout London. He tried and he did, we believe, radicalize vulnerable children from ages 11 to 14. So, what happens to those children now? What happens to those children? Because you have to take them out of school and you have to 24/7 somehow unbrainwash them. And I don't know how you're going to do it, because what if one of those children does grow up to do a terror attack.
I think there's a lot of people in the chat, maybe, or just watching, not just in the chat, that are kind of asking yourself or wondering, like, well, how does this happen? How come these children didn't speak out? Maybe one of them did. But there are places in the UK, this was in East London, I think.
Yeah, London. It was in London.
There are a lot of Muslims. It's highly possible and probable that most of his class was a class of Muslims. And of
course they're all Muslims in this class.
That's what I'm saying. That's why they're able to get away with it. If there were just regular old Joes in there, you know what I mean? This is it's from what I understand, it's a public school.
Well, they have all kinds of schools in the UK that can be public. And so you can have like a Muslim, they're like charter schools.
Right. But this guy said that he was radicalized.
Yeah.
Online.
Yeah.
So it's not like it came inherently from him. It's not, what I'm saying is this is not a, for lack of a better word, grassroots movement within the community where everybody is all of a sudden deciding they're going to be.
It is an Islamic school.
Terrorists.
It's an Islamic school.
But they didn't all decide, you know what, let's just be terrorists. This is what we're going to teach at our school.
Right.
This guy individually decided, he was radicalized himself, and he is radicalizing these kids, and nobody is speaking out about it because their families are Muslim and their parents probably don't care.
I think he was born in London from a family from Bangladesh, and he became a teacher at this Lantern of Knowledge East London private Islamic school.
So that's good to know that this was a specifically Muslim school. It wasn't a public school with mixed, cultures, as we'll refer to as
so he taught Islamic studies to 110 school children with the aim of preparing them to become young militants in the Islamic State.
But again, the fact that your government is funding schools where this can happen.
So it says here the school children did not tell their parents or teachers anything because they had been paralyzed by fear after Hawk said he was a member of the Islamic State and warned the children they would suffer the same fate as those in the jihadi videos if they said anything. Although police initially met with a wall of silence from the children, eventually 6 of the students presented evidence at Hawk's trial at the Old Bailey and told the court how he had taught them of that fighting was good along with some physical training, such as having them do push-ups and build their strength. He is teaching us terrorism like how to fight. One of the children says, if you fight for the sake of Allah on Judgment Day, when you get judged for your good deeds and bad deeds, fighting is good. On Friday, Hawk was found guilty of a number of counts at London's Old Bailey Court, including preparing terrorist acts. 2 accomplices, 19-year-old Athu Parm, blah, 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 and another 27-year-old were also convicted of helping him.
Wow.
The 3 will be sentenced at a later date. So here's the thing. The UK, and they let these people out. This guy is going to get out. He'll live to fight another day. And that's my last story.
Really? No, go to the...
Okay. That's funny to end on. I want to actually bring it up. We're working on a website, by the way. Can you tell people about that?
We're working on a website. We're supposed to do it yesterday, and we're supposed to be working on it today.
It's okay. We're gonna get one up. Oh,
life
we're
happens.
Live. I'm gonna see if I can find it in my thing here because I want to talk about it. So in the UK, they've decided that
we've been saying it here. This is the enter the part of the program. My favorite time. We haven't been able to do this for a while, but those of you that have been with us for a while know my favorite time is make babies. For us to encourage you guys in your country, wherever you are, whatever your race, whatever your color, make babies for your country. We want you guys to be having babies because there is a rapid decline in people having children in their own countries. Okay? There is a rapid increase in people going to other people's countries and having lots of children.
All right, so in the UK,
you're going to be outnumbered soon.
They have done so much. They've done so well to teach young people how not to get pregnant. They're literally having to teach young people how to get pregnant.
Here in the United States, people are getting pregnant, little people, school-age children, get pregnant out of wedlock. And so it is very important to teach, I would say abstinence. Our public school just teaches safe sex, whatever. But tell these kids, don't have a baby outside of wedlock. They're teaching them. They put it into their brains. They have told these kids, you don't want to have kids outside wedlock.
They tell them how not to have children, but they don't actually tell them how to have children. And so infertility rates are quite high. Doctors are calling on girls to be taught how to get pregnant in new sex education classes. The NHS figures show that 1 in 7 couples struggle to conceive, which is why educators are being urged to shift the focus from contraception to, sex education should be about how life is if it's going to be done at all, right? How life happens, right? Okay, but basically, just stay on this one thing: how not to make life happen. And then, unfortunately, they do not teach young women that using birth control, especially hormonal birth control, can teach your body to kill.
It doesn't. It's not it does. It teaches your body to kill. And
when you come off of this birth control, if your body is still in that hormonal imbalance of teaching a body to kill,
or make your body inhospitable to the growing of a life,
then a lot of women come off birth control and they immediately have a miscarriage because the hormones aren't out of their body yet, and a baby is conceived and it dies. So like contraception for me is just, it's murderous. But anyways, I'm doing such a good job with these young women. A coalition of leading doctors, fertility experts, and campaigners have told the government that traditional focus on contraception and preventing teen pregnancy can lead to many young girls assuming they can conceive as soon as they want to. The average age for the woman in the UK to have a child is 30 years old. What? The average age is 30. Actually, it was 26 in 1976. I read that and I thought that is insane because
about a fifth of women reach the age of 45 without having a baby.
And we know the ultimate age of having a baby is between 20 and 35. Teen pregnancy, however, has dropped to a record low. And that's, wonderful. But let's see.
It says that it fell to 21 in 1,000, which is half the rate as it was in the 1990s.
From 2019, school children will receive compulsory sex education classes. The government is currently running a public consultation to determine what content the lessons should contain. A submission made by the Fertility Education Initiative, the FEI, said the syllabus should look at the nature of fertility, right from puberty to menopause. The effects of age, obesity, alcohol, and other lifestyle factors should also be made clear to the students.
But I wish they would include the fact that taking a contraceptive really, really, really does increase your rate of infertility.
Right. So the FEI said the impact of mental health whilst trying and failing to fall pregnant should also be made clear to students. Research has found a misconception over the success rate of IVF. In a recent study, a third of women thought that up to a fifth of babies each year were born as a result of IVF or donor insemination because of difficulties conceiving naturally. The true figure is a 50th. The FEI is an educational group within the British Fertility Society. Jessica Hepburn, who went through 11 rounds of unsuccessful treatment, is a member. She told The Times that the current system is failing young people because important fertility information is missing.
Did they just say that 50%?
No, is a 50th. Okay. So most women thought that a fifth of babies were conceived through IVF.
So it's really far less than
right.
that.
It's 50th.
Okay.
They urgently deserve the full story about fertility and its limits so that they can make informed decisions about their future. They've heard things in the media about egg freezing and IVF, but they don't really understand that what these things entail and the costs and the limits of the science. The Department of Education said its consultation had been extensive. It said that it wanted the new lessons to help children deal with the challenges they face in modern Britain. So
wow. See, to me this is exciting because in all honesty,
teach kids how to get pregnant, UK doctors say.
I believe that teaching about the sanctity of marriage and life and having children and the beauty in it is something that should be taught to children because
that's not part of the curriculum.
I can guarantee you, okay, that if you're weighing the beauty of having a marriage and a family, then it's going to it will already cover you don't want to get pregnant out of wedlock. All right, it'll cover that because you will want the way that it's supposed to be, and then it will also let these kids know that, you know what, if you don't live your life right, you may not be able to have kids, and that might put a little bit of a fear into them as well. you know? I think this is really healthy. I think this is a good thing.
One more little story I want to share with you guys. Not little, it's huge.
We're going to Marine Le Pen.
Le Pen has been charged for posting violent ISIS images on Twitter that in 2015 and could face 3 years in prison.
No way.
Marine Le Pen, the leader of the France's far-right National Front, has been charged with over photographs that she tweeted about the atrocities of the Islamic State. I wanted to see...
Here's the thing that makes me really mad about this Twitter police thing, the censorship police. If an image is real and it really happened and someone committed that crime, it should be allowed to be shown. You can't go to prison for showing an image of something that really happened. We have all seen Schindler's List. Okay, we've all seen the effects of Hiroshima. We know what happens when people get injured. We are allowed to share these images.
I guess
you can go to prison
for that.
There's
a charge of circulating violent images that incite terrorism or pornography or seriously harm human dignity. That can be viewed by a minor. It could be a crime punishable up to 3 years in prison and a fine of 75,000 euros. The pictures were posted a few weeks after the Paris attacks in November 2015. 130 people were killed, by the way. One of the images showed the body of James Foley, an American journalist beheaded by ISIS extremists. The other showed a man in an orange jumpsuit being driven over by a tank and another man being burned alive in a cage.
Little buggy.
Oh, sorry. Daesh is this. Le Pen wrote in a caption using an Arabic acronym for ISIS in response to a TV journalist drawing a comparison between the extremists and the French far right. And Le Pen later deleted the picture of Foley after a request from his family saying she had been unaware of his identity. I am being charged for having condemned the horrors of Daesh, she told the AFP. In other countries, this would have earned me a medal. So this is just insanity. This is what fascism looks like. Here's the thing. When you accuse somebody of being fascist and then you put them in prison because you're censoring
because
you're
what
being
they're
a
saying.
Fascist, we're mind-boggling.
We have reached a level of insanity that I never thought growing up. Did you guys think this? I never thought that we would get to this level of insanity. Chris Holman reminds us that the Health Ranger channel
thank you
was deleted. That's Mike Adams. I was first made aware of him at the Red Pill Expo last June, which by the way is coming up soon, which we need to start plugging it. We are not going this year to the Red Pill Expo. They've moved it to Washington State. That's not why we're not going. But that does not mean that we don't want you guys to go. We would love to have some eyes and ears on the ground for you guys that want to go to the Red Pill Expo this year. I'm not exactly sure when it's going to be, but when I do look it up, I've gotten some emails. I just haven't opened them yet from G. Edward Griffin.
Yeah, I was trying to find that.
You guys know. He's
He's not off of Twitter because I saw him.
There he is. Just keep
yeah, there he is. I keep passing him up. He's not verified. Last night he tweeted out, this is funny. Censorship rampage spins out of control as YouTube bans videos about donkeys and chickens. It says, YouTube deletes entire Health Ranger video channel, deletes 1,700 videos. I don't know what to say. Michelle was like, I want to go live, talk about it right now last night.
I have to tell you guys, and I keep saying this, and you know what, it may get me in trouble, and at this point, who cares? There's a reason why God has allowed Mass Faith 3 to stay pretty small, and Resistance Chicks to stay pretty small. I know a lot of you guys get upset. There's not enough views here. There should be more subscribers. They've taken a lot of our subscribers. Yeah, whatever. And it was upsetting to us at first as well. But I believe that it was the Lord, the Holy Spirit, keeping our channel small, so hopefully we can fly under the radar. I don't want our channel deleted. I don't want all of our videos deleted. I don't have them all backed up. Right. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to fly under the radar. We may not. And that's why I'm trying to get this website up and running so that if that does happen, you guys will still be able to find us.
Yeah, he talks about it. This has been happening over the past 2 weeks. YouTube has been on a censorship rampage. They hired 10,000 people.
10,000 people.
Back in December, and suddenly they've come into their own. They've been trained, and now they're just like pulling everybody off of YouTube. It's apparently run by the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is a terrorist group themselves. a radical left-wing hate group that despises Christianity, the Second Amendment, and patriots in particular. Hundreds of prominent conservative video channels have been targeted for termination by YouTube, leading many independent media leaders like Mike Adams, the health ranger, to call for government regulation of YouTube to protect free speech. I love what Ted Cruz has talked about this, and I don't know if we talked about this. Why would YouTube and Twitter need to be regulated if they're just a regular, their business, right? They should be able to do what they want, their business. That makes sense. However, they have an immunity of what's posted on their site so that they're not prosecuted for violations that could be pornographic images or things like that. They have an immunity because they didn't post it. It's not them, right? The difference between a YouTube and a Twitter and a Facebook is Twitter, they're responsible for what they post. They're not responsible for what other people post. And then it gives them some immunity. A Christian baker has to work with his own hands. We're not asking Twitter or YouTube to do anything for Christians. Right. We're not asking them to do anything for patriots, right? You just put the videos. They don't actually have to creatively do anything like market specifically for Christians or market for this or market for patriots or anything like that. Right. They don't have to go against their conscience in any way. They just let it flow. They don't have a conscience. Exactly. So the main thing is Twitter, YouTube, Facebook lose all their immunity for being there. What they're saying is give us immunity because we're neutral. Mm-hmm. But they're not neutral. As soon as they're not neutral, they lose their immunity. They shut down. Right. They shut down because then the government can prosecute them on everything on their channel because it's all their thing, right? It's their ideology. It's their ideology that they believe and that they allow.
I'm following you.
Do you see? Well, yeah. So,
a couple of questions here from the chat. Somebody had said Tim wants to know why we have two channels.
This is why.
This is why. We have two channels. It turned out to be kind of a fluke. When we already had our Mass Faith 3 channel, it was our homesteading channel where we uploaded our Virgin Diaries and just different how-to videos and just fun stuff. We had a few hundred followers or subscribers last January. And then we decided to launch Resistance Chicks, and we just thought naively we could just start it up as a separate channel and it would take off. Right. Should our content be worthy of it taking off. But we wanted our Mass Faith 3 viewers to kind of know that we'd launched this new channel. So in the beginning, we just started uploading. We'd upload videos to Resistance Chicks, and then we'd upload the videos to Mass Faith 3 just to let them know that we're doing this channel thing. Well, the Mass Faith 3, because it already had subscribers and it had some videos that were up in the 100,000s, somehow, however their algorithm works, all of the views kept going to the Mass Faith 3 channel. And we decided that in case this were to happen, it would be a good idea for us to have a backup channel so that you guys would always know how to find us, which is why we're constantly encouraging you to please subscribe to both channels.
In the very beginning, last January, we started out, we made a silly video about Bill Clinton checking out Ivanka. Within like 2 days, it had 75,000 views on Mass Faith 3 and like 5 on Resistance Chicks. Same video, same tags, same picture. Right. So we were like, all the people are sent by YouTube to Mass Faith 3. So that's where we were at because that's the people were going. Right. And there was just a little handful, a little group of people on Resistance Chicks channel, and it wasn't put in the top things on live streaming. Our Mass Faith 3 channel, when we would go live before, when we were starting to go live, we kept picking up people because they put us out there, fresh subscribers who could find us that way because our videos weren't allowed to be put into the algorithms. They shut down our videos from being put in the algorithms. If you put, we figured it out, if you put InfoWars in the tags, then you don't get put in any. It's a game. It's such a weird game that they're playing.
So for those of you that are unaware, most of you know, but I'll just give you an update. There is no update.
There's Sargon of Akkad. He's so cool. If you maybe watch him on YouTube. He has been, I don't know if he's off of YouTube or off of Twitter. It's so hard to keep track of, but like on one of these sites, I think he's off of Twitter. I think he might still be on, I think he's banned from going, I don't know. It's just a weird situation happening right now.
But with our Mass Faith 3 channel, we were doing a Jordan Peterson interview, and Channel 4 was really upset about people showing that video because it really
She
showed
looked
this
so bad
lady, this interviewer in a horrible light. They literally cut our feed, stopped us from going live, and immediately banned us from live streaming.
And there is a back door. What I believe is that what they can't tell us is that Channel 4 asked for a copyright takedown, but they couldn't legally, according to their rules, ask for a copyright takedown because you're allowed to show things and comment on things.
Right.
So
it turns it into another...
Every time we go to YouTube, they say you have a copyright infringement. And we say, no, it's not on our page. We don't have one. We don't have any copyright strikes. We don't have any copyright
So somebody was asking if we have any strikes. We have no community guideline strikes.
None.
We have no copyright strikes on our Mass Faith 3 channel or resistance checks. Now, so in the beginning, I was dealing with them via messaging about this issue, and at first they said it's a copyright strike, and I said, well, it's not. We can deal with that, but because you haven't listed it as a copyright strike, usually when you're given, we've been given copyright notifications. This is copyrighted material. Don't worry about it. They'll just earn your money for the whatever. But you can contest a copyright strike, and there's an avenue with which you can do that. They have to tell you who is
because you have to be able to go to that person and you can ask them to remove it.
But they have not told us that we have a copyright strike.
Right.
They haven't told us who it is.
Right.
It's not on our video. The video is still up. It is still live. It is still live. It is still live. If you go to our channel on Mass Faith 3, it will tell you Mass Faith 3 is live right now, and it'll take you to that video that we were playing at the time. It's playing on a loop. So I was dealing with YouTube about this, and they dropped me. They will not communicate with me any further. I have re-upped the case. I have sent them new messages. They are completely ignoring me.
So if anybody knows anybody in YouTube, send me a link because we just need a real person to talk to.
I think, though, right now at this point, I don't want to deal with them while they're taking down everybody's channels. I'm perfectly happy to fly under the radar as Resistance Chicks, go live here, upload to Mass Faith 3, and we'll just figure the rest of it out later once this storm is over.
Alex Jones has opened up a couple new channels. If you want to find him, I think Alex Jones or InfoWars Censored is one, and Paul Joseph Watson is tweeting them out. They're starting new channels. Alex Jones' channel has over 2 million subscribers. This is so crazy.
Anyway, we are fully prepared to have our channel taken down. Like, we're just, whatever, God knows.
But you can tweet to YouTube and YouTube team, denounce their censorship, let them know how much you appreciate our channel or the Health Ranger channel or Alex Jones. You can call your members of Congress to launch a civil rights investigation into YouTube, Facebook, and Google. And we don't have an app for you to download, but they have a natural news app that you can download. And help support our YouTube alternative website, which will be announced next week on the Alex Jones Show. We are building a video community where the free speech of patriots is protected and honored. Ultimately, this video project can help make YouTube increasingly obsolete. So I don't know how this is going to happen. I don't know where the servers are the big thing. And honestly, from what I understand, YouTube actually, after all its ads, operates in the red. But because their parent company is Google, and Google makes so much money, YouTube is still open and running. But remember, the CIA helped back Google. We don't have any government CIA backing to create these giant communities, online communities. It's like, Bitcoin is run on people just running their computers 24/7, like a ton of electricity. So I don't know. I thought we could sing that a cappella song that we could end up here, unless you want to take some comments.
No, but I like this one from Norman. I don't agree with what you say, but I will defend with my life your right to say it. George Bernard Shaw, I think.
Right.
He says.
Amen.
90% air says it's a huge theft since I think it just means apocalypse. Adpocalypse. I get it. And censorship, but it is the money.
At first we thought it was just going to be monetization. And now
that was what they attacked us, and we were like, you know what? Fine. If you're gonna pull our monetization, we were okay with that. We'll just go for free.
Right.
But that's not enough. Going for free isn't enough for them.
It wasn't enough to shut us down.
Want to shut you down.
They'd hoped that we were in it for the money, right? They'd hoped that people would just go away because they weren't making money at it.
Right.
And they're not. They're not going away.
No, they are not. Patriot Gallery. Did you have anything to add? Ma? Are you adding
out
something?
here?
This is that I made a suggestion before the show started. You don't like my suggestion.
Well, Mom, my brain gets all. You didn't tell Leah.
Just go to Facebook. It's right there. It's about
She
elections.
asks me to show something, and literally right before we go live, my brain is on like fuzz. And come here, you have to help me find it. I don't even on Leah's Facebook.
Right there.
All right. Let's see. I have no problem always showing what you have. I just couldn't wrap my brain around it because we were running late. We were 10 minutes behind. We're always 10 minutes behind. You can know that we go live every Sunday at 1 p.m. 1:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We can go live every Friday at 6:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Well, and Q came out and he did like 10 yesterday. Everybody missed him because he was gone for like 7 days. Haven't heard anything from Q. Well, one of the things he put up was this speech by President Trump to be elected.
Our movement.
For every president everywhere, they should all be saying what he said.
Do you want me to play this whole video?
Yeah, it's real fast.
All right.
And also what I put on there, the Q is always saying you have the power. And if you look at it from John Locke's reason we're a free country is because of John Locke. He said that all governments receive their legitimate power from the consent
of the governed.
And so Q's always saying you have the power, you have the power. You have to realize with vast numbers of people, we do have the power.
Right.
If you all teach each other the same thing, we have the power. There's more people than there are bad guys. And the Jews would never have been wiped out by Hitler if they had all band together with other good German
and
people.
And the good news is that people are starting to band together. Now, this is, I think, Mom, wait, when was this speech from? Do you know?
It's on Facebook. Did you go to Facebook?
I've got it up. I'm just asking, do you know?
It's from
2016.
October, so it was just before he was elected. But
everybody should know it.
Patriot Gallery wanted to remind us.
Q posted this video?
Well, Q is always reminding us. He's the second time he's posted it.
Okay.
But really
is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people. The Washington establishment and the financial and media corporations that fund it exist for only one reason: to protect and enrich itself. The establishment has trillions of dollars at stake in this election. For those who control the levers of power in Washington and for the global special interest, they partner with these people that don't have your good in mind. Our campaign represents a true existential threat like they haven't seen before. This is not simply another 4-year election. This is a crossroads in the history of our civilization that will determine whether or not we, the people, reclaim control over our government. The political establishment that is trying to stop us is the same group responsible for our disastrous trade deals, massive illegal immigration, and economic and foreign policies that have bled our country dry. The political establishment has brought about the destruction of our factories and our jobs as they flee to Mexico, China, and other countries all around the world. It's a global power structure that is responsible for the economic decisions that have robbed our working class, stripped our country of its wealth, and put that money into the pockets of a handful of large corporations and political entities. This is a struggle for the survival of our nation, and this will be our last chance to save it. This election will determine whether we're a free nation or whether we have only the illusion of democracy, but are in fact controlled by a small handful of global special interests rigging the system, and our system is rigged. This is reality. You know it, they know it, I know it, and pretty much the whole world knows it. The Clinton machine is at the center of this power structure. We've seen this firsthand in the WikiLeaks documents, in which Hillary Clinton meets in secret with international banks to plot the destruction of U.S. sovereignty in order to enrich these global financial powers, her special interest friends, and her donors. Honestly, she should be locked up. The most powerful weapon deployed by the Clintons is the corporate media. the press. Let's be clear on one thing. The corporate media in our country is no longer involved in journalism. They're a political special interest, no different than any lobbyist or other financial entity with a total political agenda, and the agenda is not for you, it's for themselves. Anyone who challenges their control is deemed a sexist, a racist, a xenophobe. They will lie, and then again, they will do worse than that. They will do whatever is necessary. The Clintons are criminals, remember that. This is well documented. And the establishment that protects them has engaged in a massive cover-up of widespread criminal activity at the State Department and the Clinton Foundation in order to keep the Clintons in power. They knew they would throw every lie they could at me and my family and my loved ones. They knew they would stop at nothing to try to stop me. Nevertheless, I take all of these slings and arrows gladly for you. I take them for our movement so that we can have our country back. I knew this day would arrive. It's only a question of when. And I knew the American people would rise above it and vote for the future they deserve. The only thing that can stop this corrupt machine is you. The only force strong enough to save our country is us. The only people brave enough to vote out this corrupt establishment is you, the American people. Our great civilization has come upon a moment of reckoning. I didn't need to do this, folks, believe me. I built a great company, and I had a wonderful life. I could have enjoyed the fruits and benefit of years of successful business deals and businesses for myself and my family, instead of going through this absolute horror show of lies, deceptions, malicious attacks. Who would have thought? I'm doing it because this country has given me so much, and I feel so strongly that it's my turn to give back to the country that I love. I'm doing this for the people and for the movement, and we will take back this country for you, and we will make America great again.
So, I understand why my mom wanted us to play that today, and here's why.
Yeah, I understand completely, too.
It is so important for us to
remember what's
that
going on. It's the establishment.
It's not
fighting back against
Trump
us.
was talking about here kind of in the United States, or at least it sounded like he was talking about that. But I have to tell you, I know that Donald Trump knows it, you know it, and we know it, that those sentiments are worldwide for what is happening right now. I believe that the UK started it with Brexit.
Right.
But we have to remember that our nations individually are beautifully sovereign, and that we are fighting against the same evil giant worldwide.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad that we actually ended on that. She wanted us to start the show with that. But I think ending with it was actually gives hope. One of the things that we love to do on Resistance Chicks is to bring you guys hope, because we walk in hope every day. We bring you this awful news, but when we shut everything down, even though we cover it and we talk about the news all of the time, we live in excitement and in hope for what God's doing, for the movement that's happening worldwide. And I want you guys to be just
the
as
anointing is
excited.
on this country. The anointing is spreading over the globe.
Right.
And I just keep thinking of every movie we've ever seen, right? Where, like in Star Wars or in the Maze Runner, or you know, and all these different movies, so that the sometimes even in the scriptures, the ranks get dwindled, right? And in the Bible, there's a scripture where the ranks are dwindled so that God gets the glory and not man. God must get the glory for turning this world around and turning the country around and defeating the globalists. And that's the bottom line. It can't be, oh, just a bunch of, you know, YouTube videos or Twitter people or Facebook people. It's got to be God that gets the glory, and it's through these people on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook. And yes, every person just talking to their neighbor. All right, we've never lived in a time like this where it literally is white or black. people are either for you or they're against you. People are, if there are people who's like, well, okay, Trump's not so bad. It's okay that you voted for him. Or Trump's the devil and you voted for him and you're a Nazi. I mean, it's literally that black and white. George Soros, this whole anti-gun thing happening right now, it's all backed by George Soros. We showed you from the very beginning, last January, Obama has Organizing for Action. There's a website. They're training people for grassroots.
Right.
They have all these little tiny organizations that they're trying to pop up that they're trying to match, but they can't create us. They can't create our heart. It's just like in the Patriot and the Revolutionary War. We are at war, but we are winning, and we will win because we have our families to fight for, whereas globalists have their agenda to fight for. Just like the British Empire, they were just fighting for themselves, to have the colony, to have land. But the American patriots were fighting for their farms. They're fighting for their families. Mm-hmm. They're fighting for their freedom. Right. And so the same thing is happening in Europe with the EU right now. And I would say to all of Europe, get on your knees, find Jesus, talk to Jesus. That's what our founding fathers did. I believe the American Revolution was the most amazing turning point in all of history. And I may be biased, but I'm right. And that's because there was the perfect timing of people who were seeking God, who were honest and hardworking. And they were righteous. They were literally righteous. They got into the Word of God.
Most of them had their roots and their family in Great Britain. That's where they came from.
Or Europe.
Europe somewhere.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, we are a melting pot. We are you guys. Eric Mathis says, the reason all of this corruption is coming out in this world, and this world is so divided, and all of this evil is getting presented to us, is God. He is working, and it is amazing. Stick together on the overall plan.
And for the Christians, unfortunately, I grew up in a time where everything's getting bad. Everything's so bad, and Jesus is coming back. I think we're just going to have a change. I don't think that things are going to keep getting worse and worse. I think that things are changing, and I want all my Christian brothers and sisters to be on the hope side. Right. How are we supposed to give hope to the atheists if you're just like, oh, happy day, bad things are happening? No, we can change it. It can change. It can change right now, today. Right. And we're really excited about all of it changing. So that was a fantastic speech, and I'm just blown away by it, and the globalists and the globalist agenda. And he's still, Donald Trump, he said, it's you guys. It's you. It's all of you. It's not Donald Trump. It's like he met with the NRA. We were talking about this the other day.
Just last night.
And now we're just chit-chatting right now because at first, Donald Trump wanted to come out and put bump stocks to the side. I don't care about bump stocks. They're just a novelty. Nobody really uses them. He wanted to raise the legal buying age of guns to 21. And
I don't think that any of these things were things that Donald Trump wanted to do. I think he was just putting it out there, kind of like to throw it out there, throw him a bone.
But this is what Michelle said. Donald Trump is the master negotiator. Yep. And a lot of things, like with DACA, he says all these things.
And it puts a lot of the supporters in fear, like, oh my gosh, he's going after the bump stocks, or oh my gosh, man, he's backpedaling on DACA or something like that.
But no, what he's doing is he's putting the Democrats and the liberals in a corner, in a box.
Well, what I said to Lee, I worded it this way. I said, all those things that make his supporters go, hey, what are you doing? A, he doesn't actually act on them.
Right.
And it makes his enemies,
detractors,
go.
He has a 50% approval rating. That's just insane. Obama barely had a 50% approval rating. I don't think he ever did. I don't know if he did. I know that it was higher than Obama. So I was on Drudge Report the other day. Because he does say these things, right? And he gets the Democrats to come over and try to talk, and then they show their true colors. They don't want to stop school shootings. They don't want to deal with DACA. They just want to divide, okay? And tomorrow or Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever we come next, I'm going to show you a really great video from, I think it was the Virginia House. This member just really went through this whole thing on gun control and this and that. He basically is saying, I will talk to you, but I've had people call us Nazis, and they just want, one teacher got up and said, you gun owners, you just want me dead. Like, when you use hyperbolic statements like that, and
it doesn't make any sense.
I start accusing people of things that they aren't. How can you sit down and talk about anything?
Right.
And so there are people in this world who make sense. Then there's people in this world who are just gone. Their brains are gone. And we have at least 50% of us can talk and make sense. And those are the people who support Donald Trump. Because we can just see common sense. It's just normal. It just is what it is.
Right.
All right. So like, comment, and subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks and all that stuff. Leave your comments. Let's hope the Italian election rocks the EU. I don't care which way it goes. We just want it to rock the EU. Send them shaking in their boots. We want Merkel to go crying to her own mommy. You know, we want Juncker to be scared. We want all these people, Donald Tusk and all these people, to just be scared. Because their European vision of world domination, by the way, the EU, again, is just another outgrowth. You literally think that nobody's trying to colonize the world again? The EU is its own colonial experiment.
Right.
So we want to sing this a cappella song that me and Michelle's been going around singing all the time.
Okay. You don't play guitar to it?
No, it's a cappella.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll sing it. We're going to sing it.
Okay. You started out, and because you've been singing it, so you started the key.
Come all you heavy laden. Is that too low?
No, I don't know.
Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. His burden is light. In the Garden of Gethsemane, he prayed, sweating blood. Father, will you take this cup from me? If not, your will be done. Oh, yeah. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. His burden is light. Cat o' nine tails tore at his flesh. The lamb was torn and bruised. Put a crown of thorns upon his head. Here comes the King of Jews. Oh yeah. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. His burden is light. Climbing up the mountain called the skull for our iniquities. Pardoning a thief hung on the cross. Today you'll be with me. Oh yeah. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. His burden is light. At his dying breath, the whole earth shook. The rock was split in two. Nailing every sorrow to his death, he paid for me and you. Oh yeah. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. His burden is light.
I couldn't get the harmony on it.
That's okay. We've not actually.
I thought for sure you could sing. You've been singing it all week.
Right, but the harmonies we have not practiced together.
I'm just gonna sing when you're singing. It's good. We don't have to harmonize. Your soul was missing on that.
Because of the harmonies.
I was just singing what you were singing. Didn't matter. Just sing it.
You got an idea?
Chris Holman video excerpts.
Oh, that's right. Thank you, Mom. Okay, so here's one thing I want to end with. And this is really important. I don't know if he put this in the chat. If you did, Chris, thank you. Chris Holman did a video last Wednesday. He put it out about being a man, like what it takes to be a man of virtue. And so I wanted to play a couple of minutes of this, and then I want you guys to go and watch the rest of it. He calls it Virtues of Men, What Makes a Man a Man. And here's the real deal, guys. Our our society is not going to change until the hearts of men and women go back to God and go back to virtue and the way that things should be. So I want you guys to subscribe to his channel, Chris Holman, Holman, and I put the link in, I think, our last video, but I'm going to put it here again in this video. So let me go here and click play. Do you have volume? Not. Oh, it might not be on yet. Hang on.
Good morning, YouTubes. Chris Holman here. Today I'm going to be talking about what it is to be a man, the virtues of men. There are 3 sets of virtues I want to talk about.
Hang on, Chris, I'm going to pause you. For those of you that don't know, Chris served in our military for 8 years, and he served in Afghanistan. And he normally covers kind of a gun-themed channel. And so this is a step. He's normally got a ball cap on and stuff like that. This is a step out for him to express what makes him tick. And also the answers that he feels that God has given him to spread to you guys. So I wanted to give you a little bit of a backstory. Dude's been through it.
The first being the tactical virtues. I found these in the book The Way of Men by Jack Donovan. He's a smart man. These virtues, though, he codified them in a book. They have existed in society, in all societies, since the dawn of man. The first virtue being strength, pretty self-explanatory. Strength, physical fitness. Courage, facing fear and adversity head on. Mastery or competence. This would include, but not limited to, the ability to hunt and fight and defend your family and your community. It would also include things like repairing your car or the leak in your roof. And the fourth virtue being honor. This is loyalty and a strive to excel in the 3 previous virtues. These virtues will bring you respect amongst other men. They will come to rely upon you. These virtues are the foundation of what it is to be a man, a good man. Without these, there is nothing. The next set of virtues comes from my experience, but also the works of others. These are the moral or soft virtues. Compassion, not just for your friends, family, and loved ones, but for strangers as well. Things that people that you meet, to be empathetic towards their pain. Knowledge, always learning. We cannot grow as human beings. We cannot grow as men unless we learn. The next being integrity. Now, I have 2 definitions of integrity that apply here. And the first being the U.S. Army's definition of integrity in the Army values. And that being doing what is right legally and morally. But I will also include being a man of your word. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. If you make a promise, you keep it. The next being faith and morality. Having a moral code and center to guide you through life. Without that, your values will change. Without a strict moral code, it is very feasible that you could find yourself being not a good man at all. All of these virtues, these 2 sets of virtues together, when you exemplify them, you are both a loving husband and father and a defender of the weak, the defenseless, of your family, and a destroyer of evil when need be and called upon.
So that was a really good line to end on. And the reason why I want to end it there is because I really want you guys to subscribe to his channel and to get more views up on his channel. So I want you guys, I'm going to leave you hanging there, kind of like a to be continued, so that it forces you to go and watch the rest. And I'm going to drop that link in the description.
That's really good, Chris. And
I'm going to leave that link also in the chat right now, because I want you guys to really, this is a Michelle request. A lot of times I ask you guys to share videos and, you know, whatever. But seriously, it reminds me of us going to Plymouth. And there's the Matrix of Liberty. And Kirk Cameron did that movie Monumental. And the reason that he did it and he went to the Matrix of Liberty was because he said, the only way that our country is going to turn around is if we get back to this set of morals. And people start governing themselves from within. And that is what Chris is exemplifying. That's what he's teaching here. So I think it's really important. Chris is going to be putting out videos every Wednesday to talk about these things. So I want you guys to be subscribed to his channel and to be sharing these videos.
We're at 2 hours.
We are at 2 hours, yes. I heard you humming the song trying to get it right.
No, I wasn't trying to get it right. I was just humming it.
We will work on it. Come back.
I think we could do it. Just your soul wasn't there. Your soul. You need to have soul. Soul! Deep inside your body. You gotta want it. Feel it. Live it. Breathe it, baby.
So how does the part go, his burden is light? That's the part we were messing up on.
Doesn't matter.
His burden is light.
There you
I
go.
think that's how it goes. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. And you didn't do the bass part. It goes, come all you heavy
No, it doesn't.
laden. Yes, it does.
No,
we're going to work on it. We'll bring it back. Okay, guys, thank you for being here for our Sunday European UK show that we actually put in a lot of American news, but that's because it really weaves together. What's happening in America, what's happening around the world is the same exact thing. Yeah. Unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to view it. I'm just going to play it. There's a bass in there. You're supposed to sing the bass.
Come all you heavy laden.
That's what I said. That's it. That's
Come all you heavy laden.
That's what I said.
Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. His burden is light. In the garden of Gethsemane, he prayed, sweating blood. Doesn't matter.
That's how it goes.
Doesn't matter.
Let's argue live on television.
You can't even sing a worship song. What would you do in church? What would you do? The show must go on. We have people watching. You can't say that's not how it goes.
But it's my show, so I can't stop you and say that's not how it goes.
No, you just roll with it, baby. You roll with it.
Sweating. No, you
Forget it.
Right.
She can't do it today.
I'm sorry.
I just roll with things. I roll.
Roll with it.
Roll with the homies, baby. Roll with the homies. It's supposed to be a worship song. Like, you get into the presence of God and you just sing, but you it's like you smelled some faraway skunk and see it in your nose. When you just like, I just sing. I'm a singer. I just sing. She's got to be perfect. I don't know.
That's not true. I'm not perfect. I'm not anywhere close to being perfect.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
So we didn't end in the presence of God today. Sorry about that.
We are always in the presence of God. Where 2 or 3 are gathered together in His name.
The angels are laughing at this point, saying, "Can you people just sing a song? Do you want us to do it for you?"
The rocks will cry out.
Who's laughing now? The angels.
Oh my gosh.
Trees are like, I can do better than that, baby.
Yeah, that might be true. All right, you guys. We will see you back here. Probably we've been doing Wednesday shows. Mm-hmm. That's not a promise, but you can always look out for it.
Why don't I just play the song? Why don't I play? Because usually when we play a whole song, then we get a copyright. Not a strike,
but we get
copyright
a copyright
notification.
Thing.
So,
and then I can't. It's more difficult for me to share it onto the Mass Faith 3 page there. So, Britt Bozza says, "Hey America, when we leave the EU, start shipping Dodge Chargers, Mustangs, and etc. across the pond, please. They are better than the Chevy." What is a Chevy Matiz? Maia says she likes the way that you sing it. You should sing it.
That's you as in us as a group.
Said, I like the way you sing it, Leah.
See? You should let it sing. You should just
sing
sing.
it. You sang.
You sang.
You sang it.
It doesn't matter. You make it up as
sang
you
it.
go. You make up songs all the time. Why does it have to be exactly how it goes?
It doesn't.
Then just sing.
You sing it.
No, you sing.
You sing it. Come on, we're not gonna be you're not gonna be happy until we sing it again.
Until we just I'm not gonna be happy until we sing it.
Start it. I'll sing with you.
I can't start. I have to have them start it. Sweating blood. Doesn't matter. I said it. Doesn't matter.
No, I'm just saying. You had it right there at that specific spot, and I wanted to hear it. It was right there. Take my opportunity. How's it go again?
Welcome to our house. You promised never to bring people into this. The people into this.
But they really want to know what we're like.
No, Mama says they do not want to know,
do.
baby girl. They do not want to know.
I have a dress on. That's right.
Oh yeah. I see. I can't.
Okay, play their song again.
Father, will you take this cup from me? If not, your will be done. Oh, yeah, yeah. Come on, you heavy laden.
We'll sing it that way.
Come on, you heavy laden. Come on, you heavy laden. His burden is light. In the Garden of Gethsemane, he prayed, sweating blood. Father, will you take this cup from me? If not, your will be done. Oh, yeah. Come, all you heavy laden. Come, all you heavy laden. Lay it down now. Come, all you heavy laden. His burden is light. Cat o' nine tails tore at his flesh. The lamb was torn and bruised. Put a crown of thorns upon his head. Here comes the King of Jews. Oh yeah, yeah. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. His burden is light. Climbing up the mountain called the skulls for our iniquities. Pardon a thief hung on the cross today. You'll be with me, oh yeah. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy, lay it down now. Come all you heavy laden. His burden is light. At his dying breath, the whole earth shook. The rocks were split in two. Nailing every sorrow to his death, he paid for me and you. Oh yeah. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. His burden is light.
Does that make you happier now?
Pray the Lord. Pray the Lord. Pray the Lord.
Pray the Lord. All right, you guys, we love you.
God loves you.
God bless. We have a P.O. Box 107, Milford, Ohio 45150. If anybody has stayed this long on the show, you're already well aware that Leah's birthday is next Sunday, the 11th. But
not
just
gonna
in
say
case,
that every show.
I can say what I want to say. It's my show and your show, but you can't stop what I say on our show.
Obviously, I can't.
No.
All right, guys. Please leave your comments in the comment section. Thank you for joining us. If you're joining us on Facebook, we love you. And
yeah, our Facebook people. I haven't had a shout out to them in a while, but thank you guys for being on Facebook Live. We love you very, very much. All right, we'll see you guys back later this week. Ciao, bella.
Was cold all alone. No place home every day. So afraid, but you call my name.